So now that we do that, I will look for how to create. I actually we create but I will look for how to create a authentication middleware to secure our endpoint. So let's take a quick look on Awilix. I think Awilix, yes, Awilix Express instead a page to see how to create middleware, how to apply middleware, because I know how to create how to create a middleware, but I don't actually know how to apply a middleware using Awilix Express. So I don't know if I explain what is Awilix Express. Awilix Express is a plugin for Awilix that I said yearly. Awilix help to set up dependency injection on your code, and now Awilix Express is a plugin, that provide a bunch of decorator like post, put, delete, HTTP request type, and root type. For example, you can see here you have some decorators like this, and this plugin provide all these decorator. And for this example, for example, on Express you need to create a root file that point to this controller endpoint. So doing that, you don't need to create a root file anymore. So this is what I will Express do. So let's see how we can use middleware here. So middleware, okay, add middleware to your Express app. So now to test this, so let's create a middleware. File, so we create a auth middleware.ts.com. So basically we create our function that is called authenticate to save more time. So let's do this. So export function, okay, authenticate. So I have a request. Response. So actually I think I will just copy paste this import, because this is actually difficult to make this import. If I just I will just import this data, and I forgot about the nest function, so I need the nest function to next function. So I forget about the nest function, so that's it. The nest function is done. So let me write it right catch, and here we will here we will return a result statue, but always here we will return a for 01 because every is something get wrong in the track block. That means basically that we will return a for 10, so notarize automatically and unauthorized status code. So we return a HTTP statute code. So we return a unauthorized statute code, and we will send a message, a JSON. Actually, we send in the body, we send an error. So that's it. And now we will try to get the token. We'll try to get the bearer token, and we will pass the bearer token and get what we have inside. So what we have inside will be the email and the ID, user ID. So let's do that actually. So we get from the header, because each time we make a request, we'll add the token here. So we'll add we select a bearer token and put a bearer token here. So we get from this header, so I mean that will be a request header. So we get here, and we use the authorization, and we split this authorization with the space, because each time you put a bearer token, that puts in the header something like this, so a space. You have let me see, actually, so you have something like this. You have a bearer. Each time you use this, you have bearer and a space, and the rest is the token. So we split here to get the rest. That will be the token. So 0 for bearer and 1 for the token. So we get this. I mean 0 for the bearer word here, the bearer word, and 1 for the rest, who is the token. So now that we did that, we will check the token. So if token, so if you have something, we will just so we will use JSON web token, a plugin called JSON web token. I will show you that. So you can find this on npm, so package JSON. So I use this JSON web token. So type this library on npm, and so you can find that. Sorry, and go. We'll import this GWT from JSON web token. So we will so actually we will decode the data. So we will decode the data. So we will use JSON web token, verify the token, and we will use we have a constant for the token. So this is the utility, so you don't need to write a string, you don't need to remember again what is the the token constant, so we use the token constant here. So we use the token secret to get the token. So that's it actually. So we have the data, so we will put this we'll put this ID, the user ID, sorry, the user ID, it says, so doesn't exist on this thing. So actually we have a payload or string, so but we will just use any type just for this time. We can, to avoid using any type, we can use this like this type. And actually we have email also, but we just need the ID. Okay, this is not asking we use the any type, and that's it. And that's it, I think. And now that we do that, we return, we continue. And if we don't have any token, we return basically the same thing. The same here, we return a notarized statute code. So here we have our middleware. So now let's use the authentication like we seen on the documentation. So let's get into the, sorry guys for the noise, let's get into the user controller here. Let's actually comment this because we need to comment everything. So you need to comment everything, so we confirm function special function that is okay, I know. And here we have a before. I think this is what I saw on the doc. Yes, a before. And we will import the default. We will need to import the default from our release express, and we will need to also import the authentication from the middleware. So actually we got yes, we need to provide some but we just remove this, and I think we can work with that. Okay, this is it, and let's see if we can have okay, reload. And we say that we want to update our password. So we will have this URL. We have a post request. We will have this. We will need an email and a password, because that's actually the body we send if we want to update our password. And here we have the reset password endpoint. So we have user control here. We change this to user because we already have our old controller. I just copy and paste, and this is what I just forgot to change. So we have a user endpoint. So here we have a user endpoint. So we have our user endpoint, select row, change to JSON, and we have our row. So we will change the password. So the password will be changed to this. Even we have the same, we can actually change the password to test. And we will to test first. We will add make the request without any bearer token to see if actually we got A401 not an unauthorized status code. Okay, so let's go. So okay, we don't have this because we need to reload the server. And I will put a breakpoint here to see if, okay, I just put my breakpoint. Actually, let's see if the authentication is sorry, let's see if we need to register our authentication function. I don't think so. Let's test our middleware. Okay, not found. Okay, not found. We can find our user endpoint. I have this, and I have a put. Okay, I know because here I have a put instead of a post. I need to change this to put. So let's do this again. So we got in our authentication middleware, this is good. We got nothing, and we return A401. So okay, this is what I needed. So now we will log in again. We will log in so we can get a token. So we will grab the token. Just grab the token. Sorry guys. We will grab our token. Let me actually see this. We will grab our token. Yes, we will grab our token, and we will use now a bearer. Okay, we will grab our token and we will use a bearer authentication type. So just remove this whole token and add the new one, and we will try again to update our password. And now you can see that we have our token, and we have our token, we decoded our token, we have the email and the ID that we send, the expiration date, and the IAT. I don't know what that means, but let's continue so we can put the data inside and next. And we got unauthorized. Cannot set the header after they are sent to the client. Okay, let's update the code so now we can have something like this. And let's try again, because what actually happens is that the next function is sent, but is it, but we have a return also that so okay, let's try this again. Okay, so now we run this again. Let me add a breakpoint here. So continue. So we have reached our endpoint. So we have a new password. Yes. So that's it. That's work. So if we are trying to log in again, we see that we can log in. Okay, so you have this. This is great. So let's change the password as we change. Let's write the right password as we change it and test again, and you can see that we log in. So this is great. Okay. So now we will build all the client part. We will build all the client part. Let me actually stop the server. No, not stop the server, but we will keep the server open. We will just close this postman session. Now we will start coding the client part. So I will open the client project I created early and the front end. So let's see actually what we got in the front end. We got nothing in the front end, so we'll build everything from scratch. So I will take just a quick break. So I don't, no. I will just take a break after this counter is finished. So let me actually run the project. But when the project is running, I will just take a quick break, do some push-up. I'm coming back. I do a little bit push-up and take a little break, so now we can continue with the front end. So as I say, sorry guys, I'm a little bit out of breath because I do 15 push-ups. So let me take my breath. Okay, as I say, I have nothing in the front end, so we will build everything from scratch. We will build everything from scratch. So I already have some project, so I will just take a quick look each time to gain also more time on this project. So let's do this. This is the project. So now I'm inside the project, and here we have all our folder. In the core folder we have our constant directive. We have nothing inside this folder for now, but we will build everything on the go. So we have our constant folder directive, and so now we are inside our folder. We have our core folder, and inside our core folder we have all the constant directive enum function generated files, ground, HTTP interceptor, interface model service. So you basically, if you code in JavaScript, you know what is constant, and this is a variable that have value that you will use across the source code, and this value can be changed only in this file. And you have and other you can you cannot change this file else anywhere else than this file. So we have our directives, like we use a lot of directives. You will see that on Angular and what we will code here, and we will use a lot of enum. We have our function that we will use across the code source. Our generic function will be created here. In Gua is like what we created just yearly, like the middleware. This Gua will check every this keyword will help us to see if the user can access a component or a resource. We have our HTTP interceptor. So like you can see in the folder name, this interceptor will intercept all the HTTP requests that are made to see, for example, if we have a 401, sorry, we have an unauthorized access, so the user will be redirected directly to the login form and stuff like that. And we have our interface, our model, and our service, and our util. So this is our core folder. So we have our module. We have nothing inside yet, but we will create them. We have our shared module, and this shared module will contain we will create inside all the component and other code on the go if we need it to be used across all the other component, all the other part of the application. So now the plugin, so you can see that you can search that here inside the component, the extensions tab, and click on this extension and search Angular CLI. So if you install, you can see actually you can create this component using using a right click, and that's it. Now we will have our back navigation. So our back navigation will look like this. So we have a nav, icon navigation, and we have a link, or instead a router link. Router link, and we will put here our link. So our link, and we say that we have an NB button. So NB button is the link will be if you add this directive. This directive means that you want a Nebula button, but we will actually add Nebula button in. We'll import this Nebula button here. If we do not, here we do. So let's actually okay, I had some. So actually we have an button, and we have a shape. You can specify a shape. You can also specify a size.
that is tiny, and you can also specify a statue, a primary statue for the style, and that's it, I think. And we will use also a nebula icon, with an icon that is an arrow back, I think. Okay, arrow back. So now that we have our navigation icon, we will use a title. So don't mind about this, because this is a variable we don't have yet in our TS file. So each variable you use in the HTML should be declared and should be in the TS file. So let's actually specify the title. So the title will be by called title, and we will use we declare all these variables. So let's remove the constructor and the ng init override method, because we don't need them. Actually, we just need to have this we say we need the title, and that is the string, and we need a link. Okay, we need a link. So what that means? That means that if we add this decorator before this variable, that means that we will receive the title and the link from a parent component. So if we use back navigation component inside a top level component,
model and interface like in the same model as what we got in the back. So let's copy the first the user interface from the back end. So here we have a model plus an interface. Each time we create a model, an interface that we can use in the constructor to create a new constructor. So let's actually go back in the backend here and grab the user interface. Okay, we grab the user interface, remove the Mongo because we don't need this here. We keep the role interface. Now we remove everything here. And we say we have our role here and our tnet also, and a user here, and we will remove the s10 here. We'll add documentation because we need to add every time a documentation. I know this is a lot of work, but you need to explain everything because this is better for anyone who want to work with you and got on the project on the go. So having a documentation is better for anyone who start who is new and start on a new project. So yes, you can say that yes, this is just properties, but you can also write a doc on properties. Right now, I'm just keeping it simple because you know each property we have here, but if we have something to describe more, we will do it. But now we will just keep it simple. So new password. So this file here now we can, like for this for example, you can describe more. So here I will say that this field will be used to compare to be compared to be compared to the password field, the password field, the password field when the user is trying to update his password. Now we have something that is, we have a generated token and the verified email boolean and agree with term and condition boolean and okay, basically one thing we do not do yet is to first we forgot to send email verification link to the user. We will code this after the sign up form. After the sign up work, we will add to the endpoint how to send the code to send the email and the code to receive the link after the user click on the link inside the email to verify his email. We'll do everything here after the sign up form, and we will also use Facebook and Google authentication. So now we just continue and we do it later. I will just do it first and do it later. I will write down this and somewhere and to remember what we have to do next. So so this variable will be used if the user click on one on the Facebook or the Google button to log in or sign up instead, because we are implementing the sign up from right now. So and remember me to remember me will be used for to remember the user password, and we'll use this field we use this field to see if the user is change his password, and the origin URL is the URL we use we will use like we saw before to get the website origin URL, so the local host or the domain name, to build a link that will be sent inside the email, the verification email or the account recovery email. So here we can have a new value, because if the user creates himself an account, he will be not linked to any user. So this, we will have this setup when a user will invite another user to his account. So assume that we have a user who register and work with two other users and wanted to add this two users to the platform. So this user will be automatically linked to the tenant and also linked to the user. So the admin actually can see the user he invited on the platform. And now we create also the we create the let's say we create, yes, let's continue with the user. We create the user model. So now user model, just be lazy, copy and paste this and add public here, also here. Why? Okay, just change this into class and public here, also here. Everywhere, because we need to access this data outside outside, so you need to add this accessor here. Now you can format the document and everything is right on place. And I think like we'll just add a negative here. Add this before. Yes, because as you can see in the TS config, I use strict mode, and using this I think you need to, by the strict mode, this is the strict mode, so you need to check everything need to be okay. If I remove this and set up to false, you can see that I can do whatever I want inside. So I need to reload actually Visual Studio Code here, and boom, you can see. But I will just use the strict mode because this is, as I explained before, the strict mode help to avoid a lot of error. So there is no sense that you are not using the street mode if you are coding in TypeScript, because you can basically create a TypeScript file and write the JavaScript inside there. But actually, solution that the problem, sorry, that TypeScript is solving is to uh, make the code typed, so you can actually avoid a lot of error when you build the project before building the project, or forget about something and make your application crash because we are just human, we forget a lot. So just use the street mode because we will not in for each value we don't need to initialize each value. Yeah, initial, we don't need to init each value. And now we will create a, let's now create a constructor. So if we say that we have a user that can be null, we can choose to use the constructor in the new live user here to create a new model. Also, we need to implement this interface to make sure that we are matching all the fields inside the interfaces. So here we call it user instead of interface, and as you can see, okay, no, you need to actually import the user interface. You can see the interface, but you need to import the user interface. Why we can find name interface? Because to import the user interface, I think I will do it manually because I think Visual Studio, I have problems with Visual Studio. Let me just reload Visual Studio Code. So now we just shut down the run and reload Visual Studio Code because I don't like to import things like this. I just want to get help from VS Code. So now that I reload, let's see what happened. Let's see this finish to build, and now let's try again. So now you can see that we can import very easily. Okay. Now we will use this each value here. So here we need to specify the user ID because in the back we don't, but here we need to. So we say that this is a string And need to have the same here. Okay. So now to see more which file I need to use in the constructor, let's split the screen into two so we can easily read everything. So I need the ID. Okay, what we got here. Okay, this is undefined. It's not asking. Okay, undefined. So if I okay, then this thing undefined. This thing. This thing undefined. Dependent undefined is not asking to find what type we got here. And if we say that this is undefined, it does make more better. And we just need to remove this ID in deep user in okay. I think that's better. Okay. I think I might need to do this for the rest. But actually, let's see. So now we will continue with the assignment. I use this because that will be easier to uh, for the update, because imagine when we want to update the profile of the user and we just update this is an assumption. So imagine that we want just to update the full name and the name of the full name, sorry, and the email of the user, and don't touch any other file on the user model. So actually we will have to do this when you use a form. So basically the form will return only the user email and the full name, so the rest will be null. Imagine that we send the whole object to the back, so you will get only the email and the full name into the back, and the rest of the property will be null. And this is not actually what we want. We want to make everything easier, just automatically using concatenation and loop on the construct. Yes, on the constructor when we update the user, so the rest of the field will be still get the rest of the value will still set to the user, and we just update the email and the full name. So don't worry guys, if you don't understand what I'm explaining, I will show you why I'm doing this and why that take a lot of time to do. So let's continue. No, actually it adds every time a verification on the user, because I need to check the user before doing everything here. So let's remove all this verification. And now we can continue. It's like to add more to what I explained here, it's like updating 2 field or 3 for whatever field we want to update, but keeping the rest in memory to update, keeping the rest on memory. If you do not want to update all the properties and wanted to update 2 or 3 fields from the user model, you can do that and keep the rest in the variable. It's like keeping something in memory, and this constructor will help us do that. Actually, this is the token. So now we create the role model and the tenant model. Let's copy again what we got in the backend. So new file called generic service ts. So generic, and we specify this for generic type. So this is a generic type, and after that we have a constructor where we will inject our HTTP client. I have something similar to this in my old project. Let me take a quick look. Again, say generic. So yes, what I need to do after is, to have a header. So we define a header, HTTP header. Okay, and we have we will also have our URL, so API URL, and we will call the environment file because this is where we add the API URL. Here you can see that we have this because I take this from an old project, but I will just change this to what was my 2003. So we replace this by 3 and that's okay. And just because actually, let's explain this file. So this file that we are seeing here we contain all the value we will use in our local machine, or when we will deploy in production environment. So here are the value that will be used is for the local machine. So here you can see that the production is equal false, and we have some value that we will use. I will explain later what is this value. And for the production, when you deploy your application, this file will be used instead. So you can see that API, we can change this value actually after we deploy, because we don't know yet what will be our production API URL. So let's actually show you where the switch is made. So the switch is made in the Angular JSON file. So here, when you search for environment, you can see that the replacement is made here. So in production, the file this file will be replaced with this file. So that's it. Don't need to understand what we have in this file. You just need to know that. And so we directly call this file and use the API URL. So that's it. And now I inject my HTTP client, and I want to have an URL here also, and endpoint URL, or just endpoint here. So I can just I can just I can just concat the URL with the API, the endpoint with the API URL, like this. Yes, I think I can do that. Yes, like this. Yes, the endpoint like this. Okay. Okay. And now I will also each time I need a header in it here, the bearer token, because we create a middleware before we create a middleware to get inside the secure endpoint. So now, to get inside the secure endpoint, we will need the token, the bearer token we generate each time we sign up or we sign in a user. So now we prepare the header to always have the bearer token. So here we will just init a new HTTP header. So as you can see here, we have an option. We have you can see that. Let me explain. When we create the user, the role, and the tenant model, we pass an interface inside the constructor here like this, and we pass each value here. So we don't need to. Yes, we pass each value here, but assume that here we just need the authorization. So the authorization, we just need the authorization. That's not mean that the default header will not be sent. So here we just need the authorization. So this is basically what we do with our model. So we just pass the authorization, and all the other variables will be sent when we make our HTTP request. So here we pass our authorization like this. Yes, authorization, and we will say that this is a bearer token with every time. Don't forget about this, the space, and we will JSON parse the local host, the storage. Actually, the local storage is on any type, so don't forget about casting to string. So this will be the storage, local storage, the get item user, and this will be the token. So the object is possibly null, so yes. And let's say it doesn't exist in type string. Yes, I know this is not there. I need to, this is not here. I need to do this here. So I will get the token like this. Okay, I will get the token like this. So we will store, we don't do, why we do that? Because we later on when we sign up or register a user, we store in the local storage a user. So the local storage is like this a small storage on your browser that we store this information. And we clear this information so we log out. So that's it, and now we will create all the endpoint we will need. So why we create a generic service? So we create a generic service once, and we will use it for each service we will create. So now we can start creating our method to make our HTTP call. So let's generate a doc, and we will start with the get or to get all that will return an observable of T, any model, the generic model. Okay, and we will return this HTTP, and we will say that we want to get a T with an array cast, and we will say that we want to pass the API URL, and we want to use a header that contains the bearer token. That's it. Let's generate a doc. So we want to do the same for the get by ID. So here we have our ID here, and we return one object, not an array of object, and we return this, and we let everything like this, and maybe we need to concat the ID here. I think yes, we need to concat the ID. Yes. We need to concat the ID like this. Yes, like this. Put a okay. Done. Generate the doc. And now we want also a search. We want also a search method, okay, because if we paginate, if we search the search
don't look at this name like you are looking at the name actually, because the search will return a paginated result. So we will search by a term and we return a paginated, so we return for the current page the result and this filter it by the search term. And so let me just write the method, and you can see when we will use this method, that will automatically make sense. So let me do that now. I will just take a quick look inside another project where I implemented that, and I will to go faster. So the current page, the size we want to take. So the size of data we want. So if we want 10, 5, or 20 data on the current page, and just search them that we will send. It will be a string, and this will be also an observable of object. So this will be basically an HTTP post, because let me explain why this is HTTP post. Because we will create another interface to we will send all we need inside, so the search term, everything, the filter, the data to be used to filter the data. We send it by a post. So when you post this object, we will use this object posted to make some requests in the back and get back with a result that contains our filtered data. So let me make a post. So that will be a post. So after we actually create this method, but for now let's see. Mm. So we will use this and we will just build our string. So let's start. So first we will need to send the page. And then the size of data we need. And then we will pass the search term. Okay, now that is done, let's create our data table response. So the data table response is the format of this the structure of data we want to get from the back when we want to load data into a table, or we want to search data to return result to be loaded into a table. So that will be called data table response. Data table response interface. And to make this also generic, we will pass the T model, and we say that we need data in array of data. We need draw. We don't actually need data. We need record filtered, the total number of record filtered, and we need the total record. We need total record BN number for the pagination. So to have a paginated data, we need this information. So here we will use it like this. Here we will use it like this. So data table interface and the T. Actually, this is a get. No, that's a post. Actually, this is not a post but a get. Sorry guys, because I'm not into post. I have nothing to post, so the table response. So basically that's it. So actually read carefully the doc so you can remember after if you get back on the project after many days, week, months, year. Okay. So we were building. We were building the same prop. But anyway, let's finish. Just finish the service. So we have and create and delete and update. So create. Create will be entity called that return also an observable of the generic model. So we will say that is return HTTP. I need to take a break. HTTP post. Then we have this API URL and we will have the entity that we want to post, and we have the header, and here we specify the model, so the generic, and we say that the header is this, and we format the document, and we will just do the same for the update. Just actually copy this and paste, change the name, don't forget about the type of HTTP request, and done. Here I think we will need to specify an ID, like we need it for the back. This is actually how the endpoint is right. So here, and we will need instead an ID, and yes, we say that this is an entity ID. Let's say that we need an ID here. And done. And now we will create the delete method. So the delete method will this will be the delete with the header, and done. And done. Now we'll just get back on our auth service, and we will extend the generic service with the user model, and we will just use HTTP client here, and we will pass the endpoint here. We say super HTTP. So here we have, sorry guys, we have the endpoint. So when you are seeing a value, you don't need anymore to specify a type, because type will automatically know that you are using a string. This is a string. You can see that here. Let's actually remove that and just do this. Just say that we want this
what we have. Okay, just remove this. This is okay. Then we have our service that you can inject directly. And let's actually make this method abstract as well. Yes, because this is abstract, we don't need this anywhere else like in services. And that's it. And just so actually, let's start coding our sign up form. So now we code our sign up form. Okay, let me get comfortable so we can start the sign up form. Okay, now let's create an authentication module here. Let's create an authentication module here. Here we create an authentication module. Okay, now I like to create a module with routing, so let's do that with the command line. So to create a module, what you need to do is to hit ng generate module. Sorry, this is module instead module and the name of module. So we got our authentication module out to make simple. And to create a routing file, you need to add this parameter. So this parameter will generate another routing file that is automatically linked to the authentication module. So actually, you can have a shortcut like this, I think, and for the module, you can also add a shortcut like this. That makes simple and save sometimes. So now you have your authentication module created. Let's actually go inside. So now you can see the authentication routing module and the that is automatically linked here. So it is imported here. And now what we will do is to actually create a route already. We before create a component. So actually you can go on the extension bar and install this plugin. So you can install Angular CLI plugin, and this will allow you to, instead using a command line, you can use directly. You can actually right click here on auth and new component. So you can create a new component called sign up. So now we have our new component called sign up. So inside you have the HTML, the CSS, the spec file for unit test. Actually, I want to say something about the spec. So in big companies, you have to make some unit tests about what you have inside your component. So actually, we are alone. So to continue to save some time, you don't need actually to write. Sometimes you can do all those things alone. So when if you have a software to build and you build the software and you have a team, you can uh, uh, allow sometimes on this and make some unit tests, because there are also benefit I think
this is what I will say. There are some benefit on making some unit tests. So unit tests will help you if check if by running a single line command you can see if everything is all right. And okay, see that everything is all right is that all the tests you are implemented in the software are passed. So that means that nothing is break, so you can be happy. But actually, unit tests have 16% of the time of you. Sorry, unit test takes 16% of your time when you are coding a software. So we will skip this part for now. So we have our component that is generated. So now we will generate also directly our sign-in component for the user to log in. What we have in the backend, we have also an account recovery system. So basically, we will have a link, I think. We have a component that called account recovery that will be the component that contains one single input and one button to send to enter your email and receive the forgot password link. So we say that this is account recovery. And here we say that to update the password, we need to have also a password update. So we call it reset password. So we have our for component directly here. So we automatically create a route to this a route to this password. What that means? That means that you will define all the URL that will be automatically linked to the component, pointed to the component, so you can actually reach what the component using this URL. So URL location, whatever. Okay, the root actually is called. The root will be what you have after this domain name. So the first root for our authentication module is the sign up component. So we have our sign up component. So now you define the paths. We will define the component we will use for this part. So the component will be sign up, the component we just created. And now we will also create a sign-in component. So a sign-in component. And we will define also our account recovery route, recovery account recovery component. And now after that we will create our reset password, our reset password, our reset password component. So we have our reset password. So actually this component are automatically public, so anyone can access the component. Anyone can access, any visitor can access the landing page. We will have a landing page. The visitor can access the landing page, the sign up component, the sign in component to sign in, to log in, or the sign in component to register, and the account recovery to get a link, a recovery link, but this component need to be secure. So what that means? That means actually that if you get you can access this component only if you receive a link when you if you receive a forgotten password or a forgot password link and you click on that link will automatically bring you in this component to change your password. So actually what we will say that this component should can we say we ask a guard if this component can be activated. So actually a guard is a like a guardian that will check if the visitor can access the reset password. So we don't have any guard yet, so we create a guard. So a guard, I just explained, a guard will check if we will allow any visitor to access this component. So we will have our authentication guard. We'll call it authentication guard. So basically what we will do is to create our guard before. So what we will say that we will generate here. So you can right click to see if you can create our guard like that, but no, we can't create our guard. So you just need to navigate outside the module and re-navigate inside the core folder and inside the guard folder, because I already in the boilerplate I make a guard folder. So you need to navigate inside the guard folder and hit ng generate the shortcut. You can use G a guard, so you can use a guard. I don't know any shortcut for the guard, so you can write like this the command line and you can ng generate a guard and we call it auth just like this, and that will generate a authentication guard. We will write nothing inside the authentication guard right now, we will do it later, but just to not forget that we need to protect our root here. We will create the file to be updated later. So now we have some question from Angular when we are creating the guard. It says that always choose the can activate because we are using the can activated method. So say that which interface would you like to implement. So this is the can activated. I always will use the can activate. So just focus on the terminal and enter click on type enter button to accept to create the can activated interfaces. So here we have our guard. So our guard is ready. We will get back to the guard later, but now we have our guard. We can directly import our guard. So just hitting tabulation, you can see that the guard is automatically imported. So now the guard, we can use a many guard. So we can here this is an array of guard. So you can use a authentication guard, but you can use a lot of other guards to check anything you want to check. This can be for the authentication, but we can basically have, for example, have a guard to check whatever you want. You can check whatever you want before the user access the component. You can check anything you want. So you can have 1000 guard here to check anything. But now we just need to see if the user can access the reset password using this guard. So now we will get back on we just get okay. Now that we create our component and we define our authentication route, let let also link to the main route, because we have the authentication route, but we can just hit this route like that if we don't pass this route on the top level. So the top level will be the application level. So we will just import this route in the application level. So this is the app routine service. Yeah, here. And what we say, okay, basically we will just remove this because we don't need it actually. And what we say that we want to create, we want to have a path. So the path will be the root. So the path will be authentication. So auth to make easy. And here we want, instead of using component like we did on the root file, we just load the module. So we say load children, and the load children will be a function that imports our authentication module. So we go out of this folder, go inside the module authentication and authentication module, and then we will use a promise to finish the import like this. So now we have our import. So if this will automatically load our authentication module to access the authentication route. So that's it. Let me see, I'm checking just something. Give me a minute, please. Okay. Now we will say that we want to automatically, when the user get to the domain, we want to redirect automatically to something. Now we just have authentication. So we just redirect to the page we build, so that will be easier to reload each time. So we will automatically redirect to the sign up page, and after we will change that. So what we want to have here, we want to have something called app. So the application will be the secure part of the software, and we automatically redirect to this route. So this route will be also have a guard linked, a guard. So this guard will check if the user is connected. If not, it will automatically redirect to the sign up page login. And basically that's it. But now we just redirect to the sign up form because we want to build the sign up form, and that will be easier if we go to the domain. But to be redirected each time we reload the page to the sign up module. That's it. And go to the sign up module. Okay. So I have a old project that have sign up form and sign form, so I will just use it to not waste more time. So give me a minute, I will search for this. Okay, so we use an NBA layout. So an NBA layout is, I just talk about this later on the video. If I do not, so forgive me. This is used with Nebula UI library. So Nebula UI library. So you can go to this website, so Acveo github.io Nebula, and you can see read actually the doc. You can use combine Bootstrap. This UI library is compatible with Bootstrap. So actually, you can use Bootstrap and this UI library. You have a lot more feature using this library, and I prefer using this library because you can either use Bootstrap or just, and you can combine Bootstrap using this library, and you have a lot more features. So basically, this is what we got. And now we need to import the layout module. to be able to use layout. So you can see the layout part here, so you can have layout part. So yes, go here, you can see the layout. So we use this to use layout, and now we have a layout column. Now that we have a layout column, have a session. I just looking at the old project I have with a sign form to make to how to get to save more time. So basically, see what I get so far. So actually, I think what I just did will automatically get the content inside in the middle. So yeah, that will be the sign in form. Sorry. And here we have a Nebula card. So instead of using a Bootstrap card, so here you can see that yes, the card are more advanced. So I prefer using this card. Uh, Instead of using a Nebula card, you can actually use this card because you have a lot more feature. You have a lot more. They are more beautiful, and you have a lot more feature with this card. Actually, you can flip the card, clicking on somewhere. Let me show you. You can flip the card. You can flip. Also, you can also have some great animation using this card. So I prefer a lot more using this card. So I will just use it instead of using Bootstrap card. So we use Nebula card module, and each time you use something, you need to import the module. If you look at the documentation, you can see that you have they say about how you can import the module. So here they say installation, and you can actually import each time you use something about a library. You need to import the module corresponding. So that's it. And now that we have our card, we create a card header. So a card header to contain our header. So actually we will create a little component that we will reuse. So that will be that will contain an icon and back arrow icon to bring us back to the landing page, and a title like the name of the website to bring us to the landing page. So this, I think this kind of back arrow we use across the software, because I have the experience that I am using this back arrow on a few pages of any other software, and I will just move this to a standalone component to be reused later. Now I will use the back arrow here. So I just call it app back arrow. You can add a custom name, sorry, to your component. So here we will just import our shared module here. Otherwise, we can use the back arrow. Still having error, so I think this is because we are not exporting. Yes, we are exporting the back arrow component. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, now we export the back arrow component. I see. The title will be the title of the landing page, the website. So the landing page will have something like this, like let's feed checkout, and uh, we have our icon. I don't know what we got else. A link. So the link will be a link to the landing page. So I still got this error because I don't know why. Maybe I got something wrong. So here we have our component, and we have also our component here, our back navigation component. But I still don't know why I can use this. So I import the shard module, and I export my component, and still don't know why we can. Okay, still don't know why I can have. Okay, I just write it wrong. This is actually back now. I'm really a bit tired, sorry. So we have our back navigation. Let's actually see what it look like. I think nothing, but we can check each time we okay. Great, we start having something. Okay, remove this. Okay, and now we will have now we will have a, let me see actually what I got. We have our NB card body, so our body will contains our form. So let's create our body. So I have our body. So now that we have our body, we will create inside our now that we have our body, we will create inside our form. So let's say that our form group will be called sign up form group. Yeah, because we have this error because we need also to import a reactive from group. If we don't, so I already did, but in the shared module. So let's go in the authentication module. I was in the wrong module, the shared module. So here we will need to import. So start writing reactive, and you can see that you have a reactive from module. So you need to import reactive from module, and you can see that the error is gone. Now we have this error because we don't have yet our from group. So we add our from group. So add your from group, and the type will be from group, and you need to add a comment. So a comment. So I need to now we need to specify a method to be called when we submit the form. What the user click on a button to submit the form, so we call it sign in, and we have our form here. This one will help us to identify our form to say that we want to catch each error, or maybe in the TS file we want to identify our form. But here inside we use this identifier to inside a catch error on the form and display message, for example. So we will create the sign up method here. We will prepare the sign up method here, and always add a type for the method. So you have a void type, and always comment, but we not comment here. We generate the comment for later. And now we have our first. So now we will use input. We will use checkboxes. No, we will use input. We will use one checkbox, and we will use also a nebula button. So we need to directly import this module also. So we will use nb input module. We need also a nb button model, and we also need a checkbox module, I think. No, nb checkbox module. So that's it, and we have our module. Now we will create our input. So first is to create a div, and this div we have. So I said that later that we are using Bootstrap, so we will use some Bootstrap classes and go. And now we will add some label. We add the class to be defined later in the SCSS. And for the label we have this will be for the full name. So one thing I did not show you, So one thing I did not show you is the language JSON file. So basically I create in the asset folder a folder sorry called I18N. Inside I create two JSON file because I want two languages in my software. So using a drop down we can change the languages. So the primary language will be English and the secondary language will be French. I speak French because I speak French, so I can translate easily inside the file. But you can use any tool at Google Translate and create each language. So you need to the language should uh, should actually need for each file you create you need to specify, you need to name the language with the two-letter ISO code. So here we have en.json, fr.json, and for Espanol, like for example, you need to create a file called es.json. So, and for England, I think this is GB, so you need to create gb.json, I think, if I'm not wrong. And inside you will define all your keys and value to translate the software. So we use a package called ng translate. Let me find the package. So we use a package called ng translate, and this package will help us translate our software. So here in the application module, I can see that I import the package here. So here I import the package with some configuration inside. So I already did that. You will find the solution inside you will find anything you want inside the package. So I already did that. I already import the package, and in the application component I have nothing. So we will define a default also. After return we'll force the default language to use. So now that I explained that, let me start writing our translation data. So basically anything you need to add need to go directly into the translation file. So here we'll open our two files, so JSON and AEN JSON and FR JSON. So here we will say app title, and we will say that the value is last week checkout for the two. Yes, because this is actually the title, you don't need to translate. And to use this data, I will put this on. For example, I will use something called app, and inside I will add this. Okay, and I will copy and paste this. So like I said, we don't need to translate. And to use this, let me say that this is title instead. So here what you need to do is to actually use a pipe. So translate use a pipe. So you need to add a simple code and then call the title like this, and after use a translate pipe. This is automatically available when you import the translate module. So this is not available, this pipe is not available because we need to actually import the translate module also here. Make this is very simple because in the application we already have defined some default configuration. So now we can see that the pipe is available. So now you can see, okay, we got some error. So actually we don't have, maybe this is the way we specify. Okay, I think I need to actually say that we need to use, so actually we need to specify the language you need to use, I think. So we call a translate service. We call a translate service. And we say that when the software, we say that when the software start, we need to use a language called, so we create directly. Let's test this. So we say that we need to use the primary language, that is EN. So now you can see that we translate the software. So now what we'll do is to create an enum, because we don't want to actually have, if you want to change this value, we can directly change inside the enum. So we will say that we want a language enum here. So each time we add the language, we can directly use across the software this enum. So we say that export enum and call it language. I just write the file name language, and we say that en equal and fr equal, but let's rename the file here and call it language. So in the app component, I need to use call the enum and use the language. So we just format the document, and always add documentation always. So we generate our documentation, and with that, to see if that is what we want, if that's okay. Okay, you have some big trouble, but there's nothing. Just remove this extra documentation, and here you can actually comment also this generated doc, because when you are generating a doc, the doc generator explain what you have inside this hook. So it says that the function is called when the component is initialized. It sets the language to English. So you can see magical. This is a tool I showed you before, I think. This is called Meatlify Doc Writer. So this is an AI based doc generator. So that's really actually what you have inside your method, and generate a comment. I don't know. I said it earlier before, or before, but yes, this is actually what it does. So let's go back to our sign up component. So we are getting something. So actually we have our label. So we have our full name. So, and directly I the translate pipe, and say that here we say that we have our app, and in the sign up bar we would want the full name. And now we will create this inside the app part, prepare object, sorry. And inside we want full name, to say full name. So always for English, the best way, always don't forget to use the same key across all the translation files. So I start using all these key in English, I need to use all these keys also here in French file. So the only thing that you need to change is the value. So the value need to be changed to be translated. So just add the sign up part here and change the translation. So in French that will be non complet. Non complet. That's it. I think I need to add the two that I just need to don't need it. So and after that we will create our input. So yes, we create our input. So for our input we will have a nb input like this, and we have a size. Do I add size? Okay, I see the field size is large. And I'll also say that we want a full width. I'll also say that we want an autofocus for the first. I want a autofocus, a full width, and we want a placeholder. So we want a placeholder. So we want some ID called full name. You want a placeholder that will have the same value as the label. Make simple. And we want a form control name. We want a form control name here. So that's let's format the document. Okay, we format the document, and this is what we got. Weird behavior, but let's continue. You want a form control name that will be called full name. Okay, and now let's copy that and paste again. So here we want a email, and now we forgot about the type. So the type will be test. And here we have email, so we can add email. So directly let's write down everything we will need. So we need an email, and we will need password, and we need agree with term and condition. So agree with terms. So agree with terms and condition. So we will translate this, right? So we have email, same in French. Password, you can use also password instead of using the translation. Actually, you can also use password instead of using mot de passe in French. And here we translate that. We will say that accepter les termes de la licence et les condition. So here we will have a type email, and we will use a pattern for the email. I don't remember the pattern, so I will check my old project. So the pattern, just copy paste this, so that will be that. So guys, don't worry, actually you will have this part on the public project, so you can actually grab this, copy paste. So we have our pattern for the email, and now we have the password field. Let me see. Okay, now we have our sorry, I'm a little bit we will have our password. So ID password here, change the ID, and in the place other change also to email, and here change to email. I just forgot, need to do all that. And now we have password. To type also password, and here the form control name password. Okay, now that we do that, we need to add a checkbox. You need to add a checkbox to say that we want to agree with term and condition. We want a nebula checkbox, and the checkbox will say that yes, we want a farm control name that is called agree with term. I don't know if in the backend this is what we got actually, but let me see, check this. I can basically check this on the user model. So we have we don't even have, yes, agree with term. So we have this, and what we have next. So inside we need to have Apple Pay sign up, and we need to have agree with them. This is normal because we don't have any. Okay. So now that we add the checkbox, here we have a link. We use a link for this, so when you click on this, you can actually see the the term and condition. For now, we don't have any term and condition. We do it later, and we say that this is target blank to open a new tab. And we say that we want to use a bold on this, and after that we will have our button. So we have our button, to have margin 5. So actually this is a nebula button. Also you need to add this input, also a full width. Actually we need a spinner, so when we click on this button to register a user, a spinner will start, and we start before the user while a spinner will start while the HTTP request the HTTP request is made. So we have a primary statue also for the button, and we say we want a large button to take all the space, and we say that we want a sign up button. So here we have app sign up, and we say that this is the button, and we will just translate that. Now we need to import the spinner module and create a boolean called loading. So here we need to yes, I see that we need to use a button. We need a button module here. I already have a button module, and we need a spinner module, and we need a boolean to say that we want to know if to say that we are making some HTTP request. So here we say that this is boolean instead, and we say that this is false. Okay. Okay, now we got something like this because we are not already init our farm group, so we actually need to init our farm group. So this method, we need to let this method here, we will use it later. So we init our farm group, so always add a type. So we say that this we will call a form builder. We will inject a form builder Angular form builder, and this form builder will help us create our form group. So call the sign up form group and say that this is equal form builder group, and now we will define the corresponding form control name here. We got Now we will define the corresponding form control. So we got a full name. So basically a full name will be empty at first and be required. So we use validator to import Angular validator and say that this is required. We do the same for the email. I think we can use email validator here, but I don't actually know how to do it, and I'm a little bit tired. I will search it for it later. But we use basically each field here we got is required, so we do it like this, and when we reload, I think we will get we need to call it on the init method to make everything okay. So now you can generate a comment. So don't forget, each time you update a method, you need to remove the comment and regenerate it again, because that changed the description in the doc change. So here we generate also a comment. It will say that we have a initialized component that initializes a form group, and here we say that we have a constructor, so we can also generate a comment. So now we generate our comment. We still got an error, so maybe okay, this is great, this is looking good, but we still got some error. I think something got something wrong. So here we have some error. So yes, we do not have a form control for the algorithm. This is why we are getting this error. So here say that this is false, and actually the user need to be check this first to make everything true, everything to continue. So I have an error with the pattern. It says that the pattern is not good. Setting to repeat invalid regular expression. So actually we need to replace this, and we need to remove here the pattern. So great, we have something good. We have something good. So maybe we need to change a little bit the space between the input to make it look good. First we have maybe 4. Margin top 4. This is a kind of percentage you can search on Google Doc. And now we need to create a button. We need to create a button in our JSON file. So we say that this is actually
sign up button. And here we say also we have our side button that's called s'inscrire. And here we need to we see that the button is on the side, so we actually need to place this into the right side. Sorry. So I think what I did is that I just add this button to this part away from group to remove what we got inside and add the button inside from group to see what we got. Sorry. Now we still got this error, so I think all we need to do maybe is to move our button inside this folder, inside this div. Nothing changed. Okay, nothing changed. Okay, what's wrong actually? Okay, anyway, let's continue. We need to implement some CSS. No, we don't need to some CSS. Anyways, let's continue. I need to add a good place to this component, so to this button. So let's say our button is not large. Let's say our button is not large. If we say that we still got this, and let's say our button is not full width. Okay, we got something where let's see what happened. So we got a big margin or padding, I think. Yes, this is actually the margin. Okay, so we just need a margin top and we just need a margin top, and we need to say that again. This is a full width. We need a full width. Okay, basically this is what we got so far, and let's say that we need to add a bottom a padding. Let's say that we want a padding to the form. So here I will remove the margin here we got here and say that we want a padding 5. No, too much. Let's say that we want a nope, not looking good. So just let's say that we want a padding top to 5 and a padding bottom to 5. So this is better. So here we got our sign up form.